Hey runners! 7 days ago I ran my fastest half marathon in Berlin at the age of 55. That was the 40 seconds PB. Today we'll discuss what got me from here to there in just 4 days. I want to reflect on some lessons I learned in Berlin, and I'm not talking about German lessons. I'd like to reflect on what went well, what didn't go so well, what lessons I learned, and then I'll do a rating of the event itself, and finally tell you where I think I could potentially scratch another minute off next time. So what I think worked pretty well is not running for 3 days before the race and having a rather moderate light workout 4 days before. Now that doesn't mean I spent 3 days inside doing nothing. I did quite a bit of tourism, quite a bit of walking, but I believe nothing excessive. On Saturday morning I went to the expo to pick up the bib. Didn't spend too much time there, although it was quite interesting, and then spent the afternoon resting. So that worked well. Might mean that, you know, at 55 I do need a bit more of rest before racing. On race day I arrived early enough at the area and entered the starting pen just in time to be able to situate myself just in between the 1 hour 35 and 1 hour 45 paces, which is exactly where I wanted to be, so that worked well. Then when the race started I was able to start the first couple of kilometers just below my target pace, which was exactly my strategy for that day. First 3 kilometers, 4:44, 4:41, 4:40. I had to adapt my objective for that race. My initial objective was 1 hour and 36 minutes, but I thought I was not in shape for that on that day. So my big goal, let's say, was to come close to my PB, which was 1 hour and 39 minutes. So I thought anything below 1 hour 40 would be okay. And what I mean by that is that it's important that you have realistic goals and a realistic strategy on race day. Even though you have an A goal and you've been training for something, if you're not in that sort of shape, you better go for what you're at the moment. Then of course another thing that worked on race day, the shoes. The Alphafly 3s performed as expected. They're quite reliable for me. They're my go-to race day shoes. I do prefer the Alphafly to the Vaporflies, even for shorter races. I don't know, they just work better for me. Now in terms of the pacing strategy, like I said, it is very important for me to be able to start more or less at my target pace or just above it, or below I should say, because the mental aspect of things plays a big role. And if I find myself in a position by kilometer, let's say 5 or 7, where I've accumulated too much delay because I was stuck in traffic jam or whatever, then, well, my brain just gives up because thinks that I stand no chance. So having a good pacing strategy and being able to start just below my target pace and seeing on the watch that I was able to maintain it for quite a while, that was determinant for me to keep running and to keep pushing in the later stages of the race. Now obviously the emergency plan that I explained in the video 4 days before the race to rebuild my confidence did work. I would say on race day my confidence had risen from 0 to perhaps 50%, so at least I gave myself a chance to try it. Another good decision was to not wear too much clothing on race day, even though it was very cold. I thought that I could overwarm during the race because it was also sunny. So I decided to just run in a singlet I had a buff on my neck at the beginning, and then I removed it by kilometer 4 or 5. So that worked well, and it's important that you don't wear too much clothes, because if you overheat, then you don't know what to do with it, and then your race is over. I was also wearing this cap that has the special ability to drain the sweat away, so you don't get sweat in your eyes. That worked well, and also to protect my head from the sun and warm up a little bit because it was really cold. But other than that, you do have to make sure that you bring enough clothes with you before and after the race, because in this case it was really cold, and in fact I caught a cold on the post-race, and I've been sick for the whole week after. Today's run was my first easy run after the race, and I'm still not out of the woods. I had my usual overnight oats with grapes and banana breakfast on race day. Quite a big one, but I'm used to it, and I'm also used to the fiber, so no issue. I did a reasonable carb load during the 2-3 days before the race, nothing excessive, because I like food very much, and I tend to binge a little bit, especially when I'm traveling. I want to try everything, but I was reasonable this time. No alcohol. I had a couple of alcohol-free beers. They actually have some good ones in Germany, and they're actually cheaper than water, so go ahead. I had decent night's sleep the night before, and the night before the night before. Not exceptional, but okay. I took 3 gels of 30 grams each. The first 2 were caffeinated, and the last one was a normal one. So that's 90 grams of carbs in total, although in fact, well, you never finish the gels entirely, so probably like 80 grams in an hour and a half. Okay. And finally, I believe the last thing I managed to do pretty well during the race is to think about my form and my running technique throughout the race. I was able to maintain a decent form until up to kilometer 16 or so, but the important point is that I was mentally aware and checking my form regularly, like every couple of kilometers, and I was able to detect when my form started to degrade and re-engage again, re-engage the core, and think about how my feet hit the ground. So that takes a lot of practice to be able to detect it and re-engage, but I was able to do it pretty well. Now, what didn't go so well is firstly that I caught a bad cold during the time in between the finish line and when I managed to get home. It was very cold, even though I had several layers of clothes on me. That was not sufficient. Secondly, I failed to drink as I should have. I'll talk about that later. And yeah, I think in terms of hydration, I not only did not hydrate properly, but I also lost quite a bit of time. I mean, I don't know, maybe 10-20 seconds in total at drink stations. Another thing that didn't go so well is the selection of the flat where I was staying. It was not up to par, not what I expected. I didn't have a very good night's sleep for several reasons. I couldn't really cook what I wanted. Now, in terms of the lessons I learned, they are mostly logistics. Firstly, like I said, the apartment is quite important, and I need to make sure next time that I choose a better apartment, check the reviews or whatever, make sure that it has proper window blinds and that I'm going to be able to sleep properly, that it has a real bed and not just a couch, that the kitchen is good enough and has all the necessary stuff for cooking. I always find it misses something and I cannot cook what I want, that it has at the very least a microwave and a coffee machine. I was lacking all that, so it was difficult. Another lesson that holds especially true for Berlin, but also for many other big races, is that, well, I tend to try to find a flat that is close enough to the start line, because I think that I can just walk there, or maybe run as part of my warm-up. But in fact that doesn't happen because well I cannot warm up, because you need to bring your stuff with you. You have a big bag, and so you just cannot run from home before the race, and also you'll basically end up using public transportation, like in Berlin. There are plenty of trains and subways and whatever, so it doesn't really matter if you're staying very close to the start line or a bit farther away, because the public transportation is so extensive. It doesn't even matter for tourism purposes if you're staying in the center, because there is no real center and you'll end up using the trains anyway. So yeah, that's definitely a lesson I've learned for next time. I need to prioritize the quality of the apartments on top of the location. Unless the weather is good enough so that you can get out of home directly in your running gear and you don't need to bring anything with you, and make use of the cloakroom service, like I did, for example, in the Valencia Marathon. Now, a very important lesson is that the hour just before the race is crucial. You need to warm up enough, but not too much, and still have time to find a good place within your corral in order to be able to start the race at your desired pace. Believe me, I've lost so many races in the 15 minutes before the race. So a lesson I learned in Berlin, and a good piece of advice for you, is that it's a good idea to warm up very close to the starting band, so that you can keep an eye on them, and as soon as you see that they're starting to fill up, then just get in and get a good location. It's not always possible to warm up close to the starting pens, because they're usually, the area is usually crowded. But in Berlin it was the contrary. It was difficult to find a place to warm up, but just alongside the corrals. In fact, it's inside the Tiergarten park. So there was a little chunk of path where we could do some short warm-up. So that worked well. I could keep an eye on the corral and went in just in time, and got a good place before starting. Another lesson I learned is that I definitely need to resume strength training. I stopped going to the gym about 5 months ago, and I did pay a toll for that in Berlin. I felt that my quads were not strong enough, especially in the eccentric phase, my calves and soleus muscles as well. My core was weak. I was struggling to hold myself together. So I definitely need to find a way to compensate for not going to the gym. And the final lesson is perhaps more specific to Berlin, but I think it could apply to other races. In Berlin, the race organizers make you choose when you register between getting a poncho after, on the finish line after the race to keep you warm, or having the option to bring your clothes in a special bag they give you at the expo. So you have to choose one or the other option. Now the lesson is definitely forget about the poncho. It's not that great. It's not going to keep you very warm for a long time. You're not going to use it when you're back home. So definitely prefer the option to bring your own clothes. especially because it was very cold. Talking about that, let's do a little bit of rating of the event itself. So the bag they give you in order to be able to use the wardrobe service is actually a bit too small, or clearly too small, especially given the very low temperature. It would have been appreciated if I could have stuck another jacket inside or warmer clothes. Uh, so yeah, not too good. In terms of the giveaways, they give you pre and post race. Basically, they are non-existent. They don't give you anything. I mean, compared to other races out there, that's pretty ridiculous, especially given the relatively high registration price. Um, I mean, at the very least, I would have liked to have received on the finish line some sort of recovery beverage, proteins of some sort. Uh, yeah, a full banana, not half one. Talking about drinks, the drink stations are rather terrible. Much too short. In fact, I missed water at one station because of that. And also they give you water in plastic cups, which is basically mission impossible to drink. Um, Also at one station, I just picked up what they gave me, and it was some sort of hot tea, which is, I don't know about you, but for me it's not something I want to have when I'm running. So yeah, hydration was not ideal. The support en route was not great either. Yeah, there was some people cheering and some music, but nothing exceptional. In fact, quite a few chunks of the course were silent and did feel a little bit lonely. The course itself is not particularly scenic, apart from Brandenburg Gate, the start and finish area. And I found that the event was lacking a proper warm-up space inside the area once you've dropped your bag. But there are also some good things about the Berlin Half Marathon, to be completely honest. Firstly, the course is very straight, which I kind of like because it allows you to run fast. And it's also pretty wide, except for one tight bottleneck, I believe, around kilometer 4 or 5, due to some works going on. Um, the course is also very flat. Tarmac is good, although it's a little bit bumpy here and there. And there's also a short section of cobblestones. Now, there's one very positive thing, which is this sort of bottleneck that was just before the start line and then opened up into a very wide avenue just after the start, and therefore avoided any traffic jam and any need for fight at the start of the race. That's definitely very positive. I'm actually not sure if it was intentional or not, but perhaps other races could copy that. And finally, I would say the expo was pretty good, quite complete, lots of brands, quite interesting. A bit far outside the city center, but on the other hand, public transport in Berlin is also good. It's reliable, it's very frequent, and it's not too crowded. In fact, on race day, I was able to sit on the train, so good. And to finish, let's talk about how I could potentially shave off another minute next time. So the first thing is obviously a more consistent training block, better training. This one hasn't been very good, so perhaps I could save a couple of seconds per kilometer there. I don't think much more. Also, like I mentioned before, I should definitely resume strength training, focusing on power in my legs, perhaps some plyometrics. I have to be careful with that because I got injured in the past. So that could perhaps give me 1 or 2 seconds per kilometer. I also think I should be able to lose 2.5 kilograms of weight, which theoretically would represent something like 4 or 5 seconds per kilometer. Of course, I need to be careful there, not to lose muscle mass. I should also definitely keep working on my running technique and stride. Um, I believe there are probably like 5 or 6 seconds to gain in the short term, in the next couple of months or three, if I keep working on that consistently. Another thing where I believe I have some margin is in terms of my heart rate. During the Berlin half marathon, my heart rate was, I believe, not at my maximum for a half marathon. I mean, it was clearly below my lactate threshold heart rate. So there might be, let's say, 3 beats per minute of margin, which yeah, should represent like 8 or 10 seconds perhaps per kilometer. Another aspect, of course, is the mental aspects. Yeah, being mentally sharp and willing to push and not let it go. For example, in Berlin, I had 1 kilometer, I think it was kilometer 16 or so, where my pace dropped significantly and I lost perhaps 15 seconds there, just in 1 kilometer, mostly for mental reasons. So let's say mentally, there is perhaps 1 second per kilometer to gain. In terms of my running cadence, it was 176 average during the Berlin Half Marathon. That's not too bad, but it could be a little bit higher. I normally run at around 180 strides per minute. So in theory, if I could increase my cadence, that could give me another couple of seconds per kilometer. It's not that easy because it compensates with the stride length, um, but higher cadence represents somehow less fatigue and more efficiency. So yeah, there's perhaps something to gain there. Like I mentioned before, I lost a little bit of time at drink stations, weaving around and trying to drink, and loss of concentration. Not too much, but perhaps 10 seconds in total, so that's like half a second per kilometer. I could also perhaps improve my sleep the night before and the conditions. And yeah, like I said, booking a better apartment and arriving at the start line in better physical conditions. So a better apartment could give me perhaps 1 second, better sleep. That's it. Now, overall, I mean, all these things do not add up on top of each other. I'm not gonna save like 20 seconds per kilometer. Rather, they work together, and you need all the conditions for it to work. So I believe perhaps that represents optimistically 3 or 4 seconds per kilometer if I manage to do everything. Now multiplied by 21 kilometers, that's about 1 minute, perhaps a bit more. So there it is. However, this is compared to the baseline of what I did in Berlin, where the conditions were pretty good. The weather was very cold. There was not too much wind. There was a bit of wind, but not too much. The course was flat and straight, and there was no traffic jam at the beginning, and so on. So I would have to find similar conditions in another race, which is not easy to find. But yeah, we'll try. Wish me luck.